Welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah.
This time, you wanted to know about Pro Pool, right? Specifically, what it takes to become a legend like Efren Bata Reyes. Well, to get some insight, we've got excerpts from a recent interview with Reyes himself.
This should be good. I mean, Efren Reyes, he's considered by many to be the greatest pool player of all time. I mean, the guy has over 70 international titles.
Over 70, whoa. To win
Yeah.
that many, you'd have to be at the very top of your game for decades.
Yeah. It's almost unheard of. Like, winning even one major title is a huge accomplishment in pro pool. You know what I mean? To consistently dominate on that level for so long. It's just,
Where?
I don't even know.
So let's rewind, right? Back to the beginning, Reyes' story. It all starts in the Philippines. When he was just 5 years old, he was sent to live with his uncle.
Ah, I've heard this.
And so to get this, his uncle lived above a pool hall.
No way.
Yeah. Not just any pool hall, though. This one was called Lucky 13.
Lucky 13. Come on. That's like destiny calling right there.
Right. You can't make this stuff up. But this wasn't some high-end, fancy place.
I was about to say, from what I've heard.
Picture this. A bustling, gritty pool hall. Movie stars, hustlers. Everybody's there, playing side by side.
That's the perfect place to learn pool, though.
And learn he did. Reyes says he learned from everyone. The good players. Obviously, they taught him the fundamentals. But here's the interesting.
Come on, I love this part.
He said that some of his most incredible trick shots were actually inspired by watching the mistakes of less skilled players.
That's so cool. It kind of shows you, right, that you can find opportunity anywhere, even where other people just see errors.
Exactly. So, what if we were all a little more observant? What if we started looking for those hidden lessons?
Yeah.
In
the so-called mistakes.
Right. And hey, for Reyes, that adaptability, it paid off early, like really early. By 9 years old, he's already winning money games. And then as a teenager, he's traveling to different provinces, taking on these seasoned players in high-stakes matches.
Wow, imagine that. A teenager, basically playing pool for a living.
Right. Going up against these experienced players in their territory.
No pressure, anyway.
That really shaped him, that intensity.
Oh, yeah. That kind of pressure either makes you or breaks you.
And it wasn't just Reyes, right? There was a whole wave of Filipino players who just came to dominate the U.S. pool scene.
Oh, you're talking about the Filipino invasion.
That's the one. You had Reyes, of course, but also Francisco Bustamante and Alex Pagulian, all making a huge impact.
Right. And it's interesting, isn't it? Because it wasn't just some coincidence. Like, there's a reason why they were so dominant.
Yeah. Why was that?
Well, think about how pool is played in the Philippines. They grew up playing these rotation games.
Cool.
Way more challenging than standard 9-ball.
What makes them so much tougher?
Well, in rotation, you have to hit the balls in a specific order, numerically, and there are often more balls on the table.
Ah, I see. So more strategy involved.
Exactly, more precision, too. And you really got to be thinking several shots ahead.
It's like a whole other level of mental game.
Right, so they're not only incredibly skilled, but also they're used to that pressure of having to perform. Under those demanding conditions, I mean.
And then, on top of that, you've got the whole intensity of money games, where every shot has real consequences.
For sure. These guys were hungry.
Yeah.
And incredibly skilled. So is it any wonder that they took the U.S. pool scene by storm?
Nope. But Reyes, right, he wasn't content with just mastering 9-ball. He was excelling at 8-ball, 1 pocket, even 3-cushion billiards.
Right. It's like, how does one person master so many disciplines?
Well, this is where his adaptability and constant desire to learn really come into play. He learned 8-ball from American soldiers stationed at Clark Air Base in the Philippines.
Interesting.
And get this, he only became a master of 1 pocket because some opponents refused to play him in any other game.
They were scared of him.
Exactly. They were afraid of his skill. But he took that limitation, right, and turned it into an opportunity.
To just dominate another game.
Okay, but this is the part that really blew my mind. For years, Reyes played with a $10 cue stick.
Wait, what?
$10.
You're kidding.
Nope. And this was during a time when all these other pros were obsessed with expensive, custom-made cues.
It goes to show you, doesn't it? It's not about the equipment. It's about the player.
And Reyes, he definitely had the talent. He went on to win some of the biggest tournaments in pool, including the 1999 World Pool Championship and 2 huge events on the International Pool Tour.
I mean, those tournaments, the prize pools, we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. The best in the world competing. That's got to be a lot of pressure.
So how did he handle it? What was his secret?
Well, he said in this interview that he would focus on making enough money in the early rounds so that by the time he reached the finals, the pressure was off.
Smart. He'd already be a winner, no matter what happened in the final.
Yeah, it's like he was reframing his goals.
Right.
Instead of being overwhelmed by the whole tournament, he broke it down.
Smaller milestones.
Exactly. It's a good lesson for anyone, really. Facing any kind of high-pressure situation, don't get overwhelmed by the whole thing. Just take it one step at a time.
So he's faced all these legendary opponents. But who did H.E. consider the toughest? Like, who did Efren Reyes think was the best of the best?
He actually mentions a few names. Mike Siegel, Roel Strickland, and Johnny Archer. All legends, for sure.
Just to be mentioned in the same breath as those guys. It's incredible. But imagine the pressure, right, playing in the Philippines.
Oh.
After becoming a national hero.
Oh, yeah. Talk about pressure. Everyone expecting you to win every time. Yeah, it's like you become a victim of your own success, in a way. Every win is a national victory, but every loss, man, every loss is scrutinized.
Yeah, I can only imagine. It must be tough to maintain that, that level of play with that much pressure constantly.
It is. It really is. I mean, think about it. How do you stay at the top of your game when the stakes are always that high?
So where is Reyes now? I know he's doing what he calls a retirement tour, right? Focusing on one pocket mostly.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing. He's actually said publicly that he's not the best one-pocket player anymore.
Huh. That says a lot about him, doesn't it? I mean, even after all he's accomplished, the guy is humble. He knows he can't be the best forever.
Yeah, like there's always someone coming up, right? Pushing
Yeah.
the limits. But I got to know, if not him, then who does Efren Reyes think is the best one-pocket player out there?
Well, he mentioned Alex Pigulayan, another super talented Filipino player.
Right.
But then he said something really interesting. There's a young player, a younger guy, whose name he doesn't even KNOW, who can beat him.
Wow. That's incredible. It's like a challenge, to the whole pool world. Who has this guy?
It really makes you want to explore the current scene, right? Like, who are these up-and-coming players?
Exactly. It just shows you how the sport keeps evolving. As one legend steps back, there's a whole new generation ready to take over.
For sure. It's the cycle of, well, everything, right?
But speaking of legends,
Yeah.
a lot of people say that Reyes has the greatest mind in pool history. What do you think it is about his approach, to the game that sets him apart?
It's interesting because the interview doesn't really get into specifics about his, his mental strategies, but maybe that's the point. Maybe that's part of the mystery, right? It leaves us wondering, how did Reyes approach the game? Like,
Yeah.
what was going on in his head?
Right. What were the calculations, the tactics, whatever frameworks he was using
Yeah.
that allowed him to dominate for so long?
Yeah. It's like he's challenging us to study his games, try to figure it out ourselves.
Right. It's a reminder that
Yeah.
that mastery, right? It's not just about physical skill. It's about mental acuity,
Yeah.
strategic thinking.
Yeah, and psychological resilience, too, being
Right.
able to handle the pressure.
Oh, totally. And one more thing. Reyes apparently doesn't take vacations. He always has to be mentally engaged, working on something.
Wow. Really? That's interesting. Makes you think about our own relationship with downtime, right? Like,
Yeah.
do we allow ourselves to actually disconnect? Or are we, like Reyes, always looking for the next challenge?
Right. Like, is that a key to mastery in any field?
Who knows? It's something to think about, that's for sure.
Yeah. So we've covered a lot. Reyes' upbringing, his adaptability, how he mastered all these different games. We talked
Yep.
about the Filipino pool scene, all those money games, how he handled the pressure, and even his humility.
It's an incredible story, for sure. And so much to learn from. Like, what stands out to you the most?
For me,
Yeah.
I think it's the fact that his story shows us the power of constant learning, adapting,
Mm-hmm.
pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone. He never stopped seeking out new challenges, new games to master, tough opponents to beat.
That's a good point.
And he took limitations, like having to play one pocket because no one wanted to face him in anything else.
Yeah.
And he turned them into opportunities to grow.
Exactly. It's like, embrace the challenges, right? Look for the lessons, even in
Yeah.
the so-called failures.
Right. But there's also this broader message.
Okay.
I think it's like
Oh.
it's bigger than just pool. It's about the
Right.
pursuit of excellence, the
Yeah.
drive to improve,
Yeah.
and the humility to know that the journey, it never really ends.
That's a really good point. Like, it goes beyond the sport, It's
Yeah.
something we can all take something from that, no matter what we're doing.
We tend to think of these legends, these larger than life figures,
Yeah.
almost like they're different from us.
Right.
But Reyes' story, it shows that greatness can come from anywhere. It's a combination of talent, hard work, a desire to learn,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
turn those setbacks
Oh, wow.
into opportunities.
And even though, he's stepping back from competition, he's not just sitting around.
Right.
He's still out there playing,
Dude,
testing himself, and
like yeah,
and encouraging that next generation.
that's what makes his story so inspiring. It's a reminder that, that even after you achieve success, that journey, the journey of learning, growing,
Yeah.
it never really ends.
It doesn't. And I think his legacy, it's not just about the titles or the shots, It's about how he approached the game, what he taught us about. Resilience, adaptability, always learning.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of Efren Bata Reyes, what are your final thoughts? Like, what can our listener take away from all of this?
Well, I'd say the biggest takeaway is that greatness isn't something you arrive at. It's a process. You got to embrace the challenges, keep learning, and never lose that drive, the drive to be better.
Yes.
And remember, you don't need fancy stuff, expensive equipment or some kind of special background. To achieve great things, Reyes' story. It's proof of that. It's about dedication, perseverance, and seeing opportunity, even when it seems like there isn't any.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
The legendary journey of Efren Bata Reyes, a meek genius who changed pool, a name synonymous with brilliance in the world of pool, is often regarded as the greatest player in the history of the sport. His extraordinary skill, humble demeanor, and unmatched achievements have left an indelible mark on the game, inspiring generations of players and enthusiasts alike. Known by many nicknames, most notably the Magician. For his unbelievable trick shots, Reyes has shaped pool in ways that few could ever have imagined. However, one nickname that has stood out over the years is Recovery, a testament to his remarkable ability to escape impossible situations on the table and come back from near certain defeat. As of today, Efren Reyes is still actively playing at the age of 70, winning tournaments and further cementing his legacy in a sport that he helped transform. To understand why Reyes is revered across the globe, we must delve into his humble beginnings and explore how his genius shaped his career and the sport of pool. Humble beginnings in the Philippines. Efren Reyes was born on August 26, 1954, in Angeles City, a modest town in the Philippines. His upbringing was far from privileged. With his family struggling financially, Reyes began working at a young age to help support his family, taking on odd jobs at his uncle's billiard hall, a venue that would eventually shape the trajectory of his life. At the tender age of 5, Reyes was introduced to the game of pool. Too small to reach the table, he would stand on crates to make his shots, a clear indication of the determination and love for the game that would define his future. It wasn't long before Reyes displayed an innate ability to understand the intricacies of the game. By watching other players and practicing tirelessly in secret, he rapidly honed his skills. His early pool sessions involved playing for money, pitting his wits against older and more experienced players, often for small stakes, which added an element of survival to his passion. Reyes would later recount how these early challenges helped him develop an intuitive approach to the game that allowed him to make quick decisions under pressure, a characteristic that would become his hallmark. The nickname, the Magician. Though his skill set grew and matured, the moniker, the Magician, was earned not because of a single game or incident, but because of Reyes's unique and repeated ability to escape near impossible situations. When it seemed like there was no shot left, when his opponents had him cornered and victory appeared inevitable, Reyes would pull off a miraculous recovery shot that left onlookers in awe. These were no flukes, but meticulously calculated moves that defied logic and physics, highlighting his foresight and strategic thinking. Recovery wasn't just about making a difficult shot, it was about Efren Reyes' mental fortitude, his ability to stay calm under pressure and assess situations from unconventional angles became one of the defining aspects of his play style. His opponents might leave him in an awkward position after a series of safety plays, but Reyes would counter with stunning precision and creativity. The nickname perfectly encapsulates his ability to rebound from adversity both on the table and in life, shaping the future of pool. Efren Reyes' impact on pool extends far beyond his legendary shot-making abilities. His style of play, which blends finesse, creativity, and raw skill, has inspired countless players worldwide. Before Reyes, pool was often seen as a game of power, but his strategic approach showcased the intellectual depth of the sport. Pool became less about brute force and more about planning several moves ahead, a trait that made Reyes stand out in an international scene dominated by American and European players. His influence can be traced to the resurgence of interest in pool during the 1980s and 1990s, when Reyes began making a name for himself globally. He traveled to the United States to compete in high-stakes matches and professional tournaments. It was in the U.S. where his legend truly grew, particularly when he won the U.S. Open 9-ball championship in 1994, defeating Earl Strickland in a thrilling final. This victory catapulted Reyes to international stardom and reinforced the notion that the greatest player in the world came from an unexpected place, the Philippines. More than his victories, Reyes's persona had a lasting impact on pool. He was humble, soft-spoken, and often referred to as a meek genius. Unlike other high-profile athletes, Reyes never showed arrogance. He rarely bragged about his abilities, choosing instead to let his actions on the pool table speak for him. His quiet demeanor, coupled with his extraordinary talent, endeared him to fans and players alike. He embodied the spirit of the game, proving that greatness could be achieved through humility and hard work. The meek genius, Reyes's approach to the game. One of the most striking features of Efren Reyes is his humble, almost shy nature. Despite being widely regarded as the greatest pool player to ever live, he maintains an unassuming profile. His fame never seemed to affect his personality. Even after earning millions in prize money and sponsorships, Reyes has always remained connected to his roots, often returning to the Philippines to play in small, local tournaments. Reyes's genius lies in his ability to see shots that others cannot even imagine. Often compared to a chess master, he plays the game several moves ahead. His knowledge of angles, spins, and the way the cue ball reacts to different surfaces is unparalleled. There are countless anecdotes of professional players who, after watching Reyes play, admit that they learned something new simply by observing his methods. Another aspect of his genius is his adaptability. Throughout his career, Reyes has played several different forms of billiards, from 9-ball to 1-pocket, and he excels in all of them. His ability to adapt to different formats and still come out on top is a testament to his deep understanding of the game. It is said that Reyes' vision on the table allows him to see paths and opportunities invisible to others, a natural ability that cannot be taught. The global impact, bringing billiards into the spotlight. Efren Reyes' rise to prominence had a ripple effect across the world. Before Reyes, billiards was often seen as a barroom pastime, a game played casually in local taverns. But Reyes' brilliance brought a new level of respect to the sport. People began to realize that pool required immense skill, mental agility, and precision. The sport began gaining more visibility in major international competitions, and Reyes became an ambassador of sorts, promoting billiards in countries where it had little following. In the Philippines, Reyes' success turned pool into a national phenomenon. Kids who grew up in poverty, just like Reyes, now had a role model who had risen from similar circumstances to achieve global fame. Pool halls multiplied across the country, and young Filipinos began aspiring to become the next Efren Reyes. Beyond the Philippines, Reyes' skill attracted a global fan base, and the sport's following grew, particularly in Asia and Europe. His clashes with American pool legends like Earl Strickland are still remembered as iconic moments in the sport's history. These matches, often broadcasted worldwide, showcase pool at its highest level of competition and strategic depth, making it more popular among casual viewers and fans alike. A champion at 70, still going strong. Despite approaching 70 years of age, Efren Reyes has not slowed down. While most athletes have long since retired by this stage, Reyes continues to participate in professional tournaments, defying the limitations of age. His mind remains as sharp as ever, and though his physical condition may have changed, his unrivaled experience compensates for any loss in agility. Reyes' ongoing presence in the sport serves as a reminder of his unwavering love for the game. While younger players are eager to make their mark, they continue to measure their success against the standard Reyes set decades ago. He remains a formidable opponent, capable of outplaying younger, more physically agile competitors with his strategic brilliance. The cost of passion, sustaining his love for the game. Although Reyes continues to play professionally, he has often spoken about the challenges of maintaining a career in a sport that does not always provide consistent income. In his later years, much of his earnings have come from exhibition matches and high-stakes one-on-one games, which draw a large audience due to his fame. But it is Reyes' love for the game, rather than financial gain, that has kept him going. He continues to practice and play, not for money, but because billiards is woven into the fabric of his life. Pool is his passion, and even without the limelight of major tournaments, Reyes continues to play in local events and smaller competitions, especially in his home country, keeping his legacy alive. As Efren Reyes approaches the twilight of his career, there is an opportunity for fans and the global pool community to ensure that his legacy endures. Some players retire into obscurity, but Reyes' contributions to billiards should never be forgotten. His influence has shaped the sport for decades, and efforts are being made to document his life, career, and the broader impact he has had on pool. Reyes has also begun mentoring young players in the Philippines, hoping to pass on his knowledge and experience to the next generation. His hope is that his journey, from a poor boy in Angeles City to the greatest pool player in history, will inspire others to follow their dreams and work hard for what they love, keeping his legacy alive. As Efren Reyes approaches the twilight of his career, there is an opportunity for fans and the global pool community to ensure that his legacy endures. Some players retire into obscurity, but Reyes' contributions to billiards should never be forgotten. His influence has shaped the sport for decades, and efforts are being made to document his life, career, and the broader impact he has had on pool. Reyes has also begun mentoring young players in the Philippines, hoping to pass on his knowledge and experience to the next generation. His hope is that his journey, from a poor boy in Angeles City to the greatest pool player in history, will inspire others to follow their dreams and work hard for what they love. Conclusion. The magician Efren Bata Reyes stands as a towering figure in the world of pool, and his influence stretches far beyond the confines of the billiards table. From his humble beginnings in the Philippines to his status as a global pool legend, Efren Reyes' story is one of passion, perseverance, and extraordinary talent. Known for his unmatched skills, humble demeanor, and incredible recovery shots, he has forever changed the way the game is played and appreciated. His journey from a poverty-stricken boy playing on makeshift tables to a revered global champion serves as a testament to the transformative power of hard work and dedication. Efren Reyes not only revolutionized the technical aspects of the game with his creativity and precision, but he also redefined what it means to be a true sportsman, someone who leads with humility and grace despite extraordinary achievements. For many, Reyes is not just a pool player, but a source of inspiration, showing that with passion and persistence, the most challenging obstacles can be overcome. His continued presence in the sport, even in his later years, serves as a reminder of the lasting impact one individual can have on a global stage. As a living legend, Reyes has solidified his legacy as not just the greatest pool player of all time, but as an enduring icon of the sport's spirit, proving that the beauty of pool lies not just in its precision, but in its resilience, creativity, and heart. Finally, this. I hope you enjoyed listening to this story. When I see successful people in various fields, I always wonder who they really are. Where do they come from, and what mindset made them so special that the whole world is filled with admiration, or aversion, of course, it depending on what their achievements are. I'm grateful to you for watching and listening, and I hope you click subscribe and the like button. And maybe you write in a comment who you think is the best pool player of all time. Talking about the description, there is a link to mugs and t-shirts related to the magician, Efren Bata Reyes, the best player and the greatest influence on the pool sport that ever lived.